Hey, welcome to the Why It's Great podcast. On this episode, Evan and I are breaking down our top 5 movies of 2023.
Yes, we are.
Since we're tight on time this morning, which I hate to do that to the listeners, like we've been gone for months, and then it's like, we got to do a real quick one.
Well, there could be a quick one or nothing.
That's true. So, yeah, don't complain, I guess. That's Evan's message. Don't complain.
Well, you're perfectly fine to complain if you want. I'm just saying.
Evan, we don't have enough listeners and followers to be like, you get what you get.
We can take the hate.
You know what? I would, at this point, like, I'll take hateful followers than no followers.
Yeah,
know?
That's fine. Hate's fine too. That has its place.
Let's start saying controversial stuff. Like, the Golden Globes host was okay.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, he was pretty bad. Okay, let's get into it. Do you want to do your number 5 first, or do you want me to go?
I'll do my number 5 first.
Okay, what's your number 5, Evan?
My number 5 is The Killer.
The Killer. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad that made your top 5.
It definitely made my top 5. It was a movie that like unsettled me the whole way through, but was also very funny.
Might be Fincher's like funniest movie.
Yes, he approached it from a place of like, it was very lighthearted. Like the narration to me really was comic relief.
There's a cheekiness to it.
But I love that as you go through the movie, you realize that your narrator is, you can't really trust him because he's insisting the whole time that it's not personal.
Yeah.
He insists that it's like, this is just like you do what you know, follow your list. Like, this isn't personal. It's just, but then every action that he makes throughout the movie says the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
And so I love that, like, most of it was so dry and emotionless, but every action he makes is full of emotion and full of, vitriol and revenge and kind of getting his. And so I just loved that duality kind of, and it was something really different from Fincher. And I just really enjoyed the performance. And I thought it was really funny. The action was really unique, and this is in my top 5. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I really liked how it took this, super talented assassin that in any other movie, he'd be like the coolest, most interesting guy. But because I think the movie is trying to talk about how like capitalism and like the workforce is so like dispassionate and empty that even an assassin would feel like he's working a boring, soulless 9 to 5 job.
Which is such a funny premise.
It's like imagine an assassin whose job is so boring and rote and routine that he's almost like a DoorDash driver.
Like,
you know what I mean?
McDonald's, and just like anybody else.
And I think on a meta way, like it's kind of like Fincher commenting on like him being a director, that like you are making these movies for your financiers.
Yeah.
And it almost like where do you find the balance between this is a job I'm getting paid to do and like also making something that's meaningful and personal to me, and that contradiction. I think at the end of the day, it's like, that tug of war. And I thought that was really interesting. Okay. My number 5, which I think will be higher on your list. Okay. And that's The Holdovers.
Yeah.
This is
the higher on my list.
The Holdovers is the one that knocked Barbie out for me.
Yeah.
And I watched this 2 times within 3 days when it came out on Peacock.
Yeah.
I watched it by myself, and then I watched it with you a couple days later. Talk about a very warm, cozy movie. Yeah. And it's definitely going for that old-fashioned, we're going to make it just like they used to in the 70s, like with the film grain and the aesthetic. Yeah. But it's not just the 70s aesthetic with nothing else. Like, there actually is real emotion to
it's
the
also
story.
That time period. it takes place at that time.
But it's just not like window dressing where it's just like the visuals and the cozy images. Like there actually is a great story, and I just love Paul Giamatti's character, who's a history teacher, who has he's a history teacher who's stuck in one place in time, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And that like he won't push himself into the future. He's working at the same boarding school that he went to as a high schooler, and he's been there for years, and his former students are now his bosses, and he's never examined the parts of his past he can't let go. And then he gets this student who also has a past, who he can't let go, with his father and his mother.
Yeah.
And just their relationship, I just thought was so moving. And at the end, it's kind of predictable. You can kind of see where the chess pieces are going, but it's executed so well that the catharsis still hits you.
Yeah.
With them both supporting each other.
Yeah.
And then both pushing themselves to enter into an unknown future, and to push themselves to like focus on the future and not the past. And it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know is that on your top 5?
Yes, it's definitely in my top 5. And we can talk about it more whenever I bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my number 5.
Number 5. Okay. So my number 4 is May, December.
Ooh.
I loved May, December. I think that it's a tough topic. I think it's a weird, awkward topic.
Yeah.
But I just think that it had a very interesting message, it had a message almost anti-entertainment or anti-media, where it was look at how we take advantage of these stories.
Oh yeah.
And look at how we just kind of suck them dry, and we like all these people that we get these stories from, they're left just kind of picking up the pieces of their life after this bombshell has gone off and blown up their lives. Not to say that, you should feel sorry for anyone that is in that movie. I personally, I did feel sorry for the
there's one person,
husband.
There's one person you should feel sorry for.
Yeah, there's one person you should feel sorry for. But I really enjoyed how the movie unfolded, especially if you know nothing about the like source material.
Yeah. I went in blind.
Yeah, if you go in completely blind to that movie, it's a really interesting discovery kind of unfolding, because they don't kind of reveal their hand until
right
about
away,
30 minutes into the movie, maybe a little longer. And the characters kind of sorting through the emotions of their situation because of this actress coming into their lives. She starts asking questions, and it makes them start realizing that they have a lot of
this performance they've been putting on.
Exactly. And I just really loved it. I feel like there are emotionally resonant movies and movies that the message is a little more of an indictment. And I tend to love ones that are emotionally resonant, and right below that I'm like, I love a movie telling me how crappy of a person I am.
Dude, that ending is so
the ending is such
good.
It's such a blow,
and
where
a
it's
dark, messed up way.
Yeah.
Well, that's higher on my list, so I'll save my comments for later. But that definitely deserves to be in the top 5.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it.
Okay, my number 4 is Martin Scorsese's. I almost said The Irishman. My number 4 is a movie from 2019.
Again,
Killers of the Flower Moon, which we talked about on a whole podcast episode. So I'll keep this brief. But I mean, it's Martin Scorsese towards the end of his career making another banger.
Yeah.
Lily Gladstone is phenomenal. Leonardo DiCaprio is really good. I think they both.
Bobby D.
They both should be nominated for an Oscar, and I think Lily Gladstone should win.
Oh, I hope she wins it.
But
she was so good in that movie.
It's just such a great analysis of the banal evil involved with perpetrating those crimes, but then acting like it was so normal and routine, and how he depicted the murder and the evil, the characters doing that as if they were just like doing a chore, like taking out the trash.
my sentence about it is like, the movie is about how greed and evil dehumanizes.
Yeah.
Where it's like the power in the greed and the money made people not human in other people's eyes. And so it's like this dehumanizing process and this undressing of your like conscience. And so, yeah.
And underplaying the violence for me makes it even more like aggressive and affecting.
Right.
And then at the very end, Martin Scorsese wraps it in this bow where that ending with the kind of stage play radio performance.
Yeah.
And again, like May December, this violence and evil is then repackaged as entertainment for you. And as someone who read the book, though the book is not like directly like, oh, look how entertaining it is what happened to the Osage people, but you're questioning your motives. Wait, why was I fascinated with this story? Was I fascinated with this story because I needed to be entertained, or to like educate myself on?
I wanted to hear
history
about the money and the power and the murders, you know,
and the FBI and Scorsese. Like again, like Wolf of Wall Street, he ends the movie and he's kind of like holding a mirror up to you and making you question yourself.
Exactly.
So that's my number 4. Fantastic.
That movie, like I think that also perfectly describes my feelings about May December, and I think you said it better than I could say it, but it has that very same feeling. But no, Killers is my number 3. So
perfect.
Yeah. So I loved it. We did a whole podcast episode about it. The performances are amazing. You really are just getting to see masters do their thing. Like
so good.
Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, like just masters at what they do, just doing what they do best. And I loved it. It's such an important story to know. And the book, man, if you have time and can read the book. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot more in the book.
Yeah, and
if you say it's too long, just go outside and like just eat dirt. I don't know, like
it's
get out of here.
For a movie with as much detail as it had, it moved pretty well.
Well, my number 3 is a movie I don't think you've still seen yet. John Wick 4.
I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet.
It's that high for me.
It's number 3 for you?
John Wick 4.
Wow.
Every single set piece and action sequence is like the best of the year, and then it keeps topping itself.
Oh my god.
You're watching and you're going, "Oh my gosh, this is the best action sequence of the year." Next one. That one's even better. That was the best of the year. The next one. And it's just
that's insane.
Like there is not an ounce of fat on that movie, and it's a long movie.
Wow. Yeah, it is long. Yeah, it's one of the longest of the year, I think.
Yeah. Now, is it as deep or thematically rich as every other movie in this film? No. It's John Wick just like murdering people. But when it comes to every other aspect of filmmaking, you know, like the blocking, the camera work, the set pieces, the way in which, you know, it's like a dance, the way in which, you know, Keanu Reeves and his other actors and the stunt coordinators, the way in which they move in and out of the frame.
Well, let's be real. John Wick, Keanu Reeves is John Wick.
Yeah, he's the same person.
Yeah, it's the one and the same. There's no difference.
I mean, there's just so much artistry on display in how this film was made, and how the action sequences weave in and out of the story, and it's just so invigorating.
Yeah. And
I don't know, as someone who just loves the way movies are made and filmed and blocked and all that stuff, like John Wick 4 does it so well. And there are certain scenes that I just can't wait for you to watch, but it's just one of the most flat out invigorating, entertaining movies I saw this year.
Yeah. Agreed. So that was your number 3?
3, baby.
All right. You ready for my number 2?
I'm ready.
My number 2 is Oppenheimer.
See, going in, I would have thought the way you've talked about Oppenheimer, I would have been like, I don't even know if it's making the top 5. So no. I'm happy it's your 2.
It's high up. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you just hear about the fact that it's about a physicist and the Manhattan Project, you're like, well, is that going to carry me for 3? Like, could that be boring? I mean, we'll make a 3-hour epic about a physicist. It's no, it's I just love that he made that story about Oppenheimer a banger and a blockbuster, and
no one else could do that.
No, and yeah, I loved it. I loved how the story of the project was kind of juxtaposed with the story of the trial, and kind of his very systematic undressing in the public eye, and it's
keyword
again
undressing.
Yeah, it's just it's a important story to know. So,
well, I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But my number 2 is May December.
Oh.
And you already talked about it a bit, so I'll keep this quick. But again, it's a really clever movie about the ways in which movies and TV shows and documentaries take these stories of like abuse, and under the guise of we're going to get to the truth of this. Mm-hmm. Really what they're doing is just repackaging it for your entertainment.
Yeah.
And so having Natalie Portman's character come to play the part of, this older woman who abused a younger man.
Yeah.
As a way to get to the truth and to really understand her, only to just make a cheesy, cliche, docu-movie about it is hilarious.
If we're going to do spoilers too about the movie.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler.
They're the same. They're parallel characters.
Which the use of the mirrors throughout the whole movie really drives that home. And
they are exploiting him in the same way. Both of them. It's emotionally the same way. It's not literally the same, but it's like it's emotionally the exact same abuse that he had before.
And so in a way, this performance, this movie, this story that's going to get to the truth of it, all it does is re-victimize that person. So it's just, there's a lot of stuff to chew on and think about. So that's my number 2.
Yes, very good. My number 1.
All right, Evan.
Here we go. My number 1 is The Holdovers. Just straight up.
Dang, you're number 1?
That's my number 1.
Yes.
I love a movie that starts out and has 2 characters on opposite sides of the fence, and throughout the movie they get closer and closer and closer until it just like ends with this emotional catharsis. So good. I love a dynamic character that's hateable, that changes and has depth, and just like
has a lazy eye.
Yeah, dude. I just love
that changes throughout the movie.
Yeah, it changes sides. Oh man. There's so many good things about that movie. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. It's like both heartbreaking and feel good and like warm and toasty. And let's talk about I don't know her name.
Oh. Let me see.
The lunch lady in the movie.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Quick,
Andrew.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it yes. Divine or
I don't know.
I don't know. It's DA apostrophe capital VINE.
Divine, probably.
Divine.
Yeah.
Divine Joy Randolph.
Yeah. She was unbelievable in that movie. But no, from the very first sentence that she speaks on the screen, I'm like, wow, she is killing. Like, she's just like killing the voice, killing just everything. She was so good.
She chews up the scenery.
She stole the movie for me. Like, she absolutely
Which is
stole
hard
it.
because Paul Giamatti was really good.
Oh, he's fantastic, but she stole the whole thing for me. Yeah, she was unbelievable. So watch The Holdovers.
And then watch it again and again and again.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's that cozy. Okay, well, I don't think it's a surprise what my number 1 is.
What could it be?
I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Teenage Mutant Ninja. No, it's Oppenheimer. Though the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was really good. But it's Oppenheimer. I don't have to say too much. We made a whole podcast about it. I made a video essay about it. I just think it's a really, really important, entertaining examination about how there is a moral responsibility to the ideas you put in the world.
Yeah.
And that you can't just theorize and create new ideas and not be morally responsible to what happens and how those ideas are used militaristically, societally. And I think through Oppenheimer, you see that arc of ideas are just ideas, and then you see those ideas become actualized and the horror that brings, and it's just done perfectly.
Yeah.
Loved it. It's my number 1 of the year.
Yeah. Beautiful movie. Really
all right.
Great. That's our top 5.
I gotta go. I can't stay here, but I gotta go. But yeah, that was our top 5. Maybe we can break down some of these movies a little bit more in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
But let us know what your top 5 was. Did you like what was in our list? What would you add? What would you take away? Comment, let us know. Like, subscribe. And hopefully we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah. Subscribe to the Patreon too.
Yeah, and the Patreon. Patreon.com/widescreen.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.